Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and just a couple days ago, I put up a video covering a press release announcing that Wonders of the First was partnering with Star City Games to bring Wonders of the First to SCGCons around the country for a competitive play tour. And I told you guys in that video that I was going to dig in and find more info about it and suss out the details for you guys. And I've done you one better. I've actually secured an interview with the Assistant Vice President of Events over at Star City Games, Jonathan Suarez. And we're going to get into all of the juicy details and exactly what you can expect of this partnership. And guys, I got to tell you, it's super exciting. This is a huge deal. And I cannot wait to dive in. Before we do, please like the video, please subscribe if you're new, and let's get to it. It is an exciting day. I am here with Jonathan Suarez from Star City Games. They just announced a brand new partnership with Wonders of the First to bring the game to SCGCons at dates in cities across the country for a competitive play tour. And we're going to get into all of the details. First, I just want to thank you for spending some time with me today, John, and answering our questions. So thanks so much for being here.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Very exciting stuff. So as someone who's been covering Wonders for many months now, I'm personally incredibly excited about this partnership. First of all, for people that don't know what SCGCon is, just in brief terms, what can people expect from SCGCon?
Sure. So SCGCon is the world's largest independent trading card game convention. We run somewhere between 4 to 6 different TCG, CCG games at every event stop that we go to. So players can expect learn to play and demo areas. They can expect 20, 25 exhibitors, dozens of artists, and we host roughly, I'd say around 100 events at a minimum per stop.
So it's a pretty big deal with the pretty large attendance, and something that's always excited me about the cons is how it's so varied as far as the games that you encompass and that you promote at the event. There's a lot of different games for everybody, and that's exciting. I like that. So how many dates in particular are we going to be featuring Wonders of the First here, and what are some of the details concerning what fans can expect from the partnership with Wonders and SCGCon?
Sure. So for 2025, we're going to have 4 stops for Wonders. We're going to have our last 4 events of the year in Orlando, Houston, Baltimore, and Las Vegas. And we'll bear the lead here in Las Vegas. We're going to be hosting Wonders of the First World Championships. So that will be the culmination of this year.
That's exciting.
Very much so. And we'll be continuing that into 2026. We anticipate roughly anywhere between 10 to 12 SCGCon events per year. That's kind of our structure. So, but starting in Orlando, you're going to be able to find a Discover Zone where there will be staff on site dedicated to teaching players how to play Wonders and learning all about the game. You're going to have the opportunity to participate in a schedule of events all weekend long. And one of the things that we've definitely seen with IMC is that they definitely understand the impact of meaningful prizes. For those who are familiar with Bo Jackson Battle Arena, they have their $100,000 prize pool national world tournament coming up, and we know that they're going to be putting a lot of support behind Wonders at SCGCon. So we're anticipating somewhere in the neighborhood of up to $10,000 in prizes and promotional product support for each stop.
Man, you're jumping right out in front of all of the questions I was hoping to get to. We're going to unpack it little by little here.
Sure.
So we've got 4 dates for sure this year in 2025.
Yes.
And that's going to culminate in Las Vegas in November with an actual World Championships for
Correct.
Wonders.
Yep.
Is that the last SCGCon of the year?
That is the last event of this year, yes.
Okay, so that's kind of going to be a big deal, not just for Wonders, but also for you guys. It's sort of the big end of the year finale.
Correct. Yep.
That's pretty awesome. And then you are confirming that this partnership's going to continue into 2026?
I am. Yeah, we fully anticipate having additional stops in 2026, starting as early as probably the 2nd or 3rd week of January. we're still in contract negotiations with venues, getting all that situated. But yeah, we're committed to bringing Wonders to the SCG Tour or SCGCONs.
Do we have any details you can share with us to the extent to which next year Wonders might be featured? Is it going to be, like, can we confirm that every SCGCon next year is going to have it, or is that something that's still in the planning stages?
We fully anticipate having Wonders a part of every SCGCon next year.
That is so, that's so crazy and so exciting. I guess that leads me to my next question. So, is it normal for games that are so new, like Wonders, to have this sort of attention, like, right out of the gate?
It is not. I think the people at IMC know what they're doing. They know how to promote their products. And it's not normal for a TCG or a CCG to come on and make a very big splash. Of course, there are some with very strong IPs, and that naturally has a built-in fan base that kind of brings it out there. But to bring your own fantasy world and create that lore and everything that they're doing, it's very hard to get the attention that they're getting.
That's what it seems like from my perspective. From the gamer's perspective, it really seems like Wonders is constantly going the extra mile. Every time I think there's some small thing that they'll overlook, they go for it. Like, whenever there's something that they can go for, that they can push the game, it just seems like they are. And so when I saw this announced, this partnership, that was what immediately stood out to me. I was like, well, I didn't expect this, but I probably should have. Because they just seem like whenever there's something they should go for, there's just no breaks. They just seem to go for it. Have you noticed that about the game from your perspective?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, this is, like I said, this is not normal for a newer CCG to just come out punching right away. But they've definitely seemed to know what they're doing, and I've played the game as well. I'm a fan of it very much, so I'm looking forward to playing more at SCGCons that I'll be at. So yeah, I mean, I'm very excited for it.
Maybe we can play a game together.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm super excited for the world to kind of get a more clearer picture of something I've known for a while, and just how fulfilling and how deep this game can be, because I've been working with this game, doing coverage of the game, playing the game a lot, pretty much ever since the Kickstarter, and I haven't really seen many people outside of my ecosystem really take notice until we finally had the first Shattering launch event. And now it seems like people are really taking notice, and with you guys jumping on board, I think it's safe to say that is the case. Pretty crazy stuff. I'm curious, what is it about Wonders in particular that makes you excited for this partnership that might be, different from other games?
I honestly think it's the support, right? We work with a lot of different publishers, and then we do our own independent events. And being able to work with a publisher who has the support that they're going to give you really lends itself towards growing the game. Like, it's a very big portion of it. Certain games really value promotional items and promos and things like that. And if you don't have the support of a publisher to help you with that, it's impossible to really grow it on your own independent circuit. So I think IMC pushing the game, working with us, collaboratively to bring Wonders to people, I think is going to do a really good job of building it.
It's also incredibly exciting from my perspective, and I don't know what your thoughts on this would be, but coming from Magic the Gathering first into this game and knowing that Brian Tinsman is involved, who was, a former lead dev on Magic the Gathering, did some of my favorite sets, some of the most crazy out there sets like Time Spiral, and when they used to do the block format, he'd do a lot of the third sets in the block, which is when you take the mechanics and like amp them up and do all the crazy stuff. Seeing that he was behind the game really caught my attention in the early days, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very much an old Magic head. I've been playing that since like 1999, so I am familiar with Brian and his work with Magic. And definitely some of the sets that I enjoy the most, he was a part of. Rise of Eldrazi was one of those that was just like stuck out to me as one of my favorite formats and favorite sets. So I was very excited to see that he's a part of that. Having that background is really, really powerful coming to a TCG. And Brian's known for making powerful things and kind of crazy things. So it's definitely exactly what I expected when I walked into Wonders and kind of seeing what was going on. There was a lot of depth. I also just like the design. the 7-turn design is really cool. I think that's a really powerful way of getting people kind of engaged. Time is of the essence. People don't like wasting time, so knowing that you can sit down and this game is going to have a 7-turn cycle is pretty great.
And the other side of the spectrum too. There have been combo decks in Magic's past that have dragged that game out forever sometimes, like infinite combo, like Nexus decks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about like, oh, I'm up against a control player in this game. It's going to last 2 hours. You know,
exactly.
You get both sides of the coin there, which I think is really interesting. So let's talk about prize support. You briefly mentioned earlier the word, I believe you mentioned the number 10,000.
Yeah, so every SCGCON stop will have up to $10,000 in prizing, and that's before you get to the promotional product support, things of that nature. So it's going to vary from event to event as we're learning, as we're growing, kind of understanding what we're going to see in certain regions. You know, there's going to be regions that are larger and more players are going to be in certain areas than they are in others. So we're going to work with IMC on kind of making sure that we collaboratively decide what we're going to do for every event. But yeah, they're definitely dedicated to having some big prizes at every event.
That's really exciting to me. I remember Magic's early days when it was like the Wild West and the game wasn't like fully figured out yet, and you had like the first Pro Tour with these big prizes on the line, and like getting that feel of like it's the Wild West with a brand new game, having a game this new but with these big prize pools is sort of exciting. Like being on the ground floor, is any of that excitement carrying over to you guys?
Definitely. That's like, I've played pretty much every TCG, CCG that we've carried on the SCGCON events, and that's always my favorite learning experience in that time period where everything's kind of the Wild West and new, and everybody's trying to figure out and scramble what they're doing. And being able to do that with real prize support is a blast. Like I'm a true competitor, and that's my favorite.
I feel like normally a game is more developed and solved, and you know the meta more to a T by the time it gets to a point where it has prize support like this. Am I right in assuming that?
For the most part, yeah. It usually, by the time you get a prize support pool this large, you have a metagame pretty locked in at that point. So this is going to be very cool to just see what's going on, what people are crafting, and I think it's going to be really sweet.
You could have some really, really surprising stuff kind of come out of nowhere and really see. I don't know, man. It's exciting for me coming from the play side of it for sure. And then the World Championship. Has there been any prize support sort of considered or announced or anything for that?
Nothing publicly right now, but we're going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada for that one, and that has always been one of our larger events. So we fully anticipate, Wonders bringing out as many people as they can for that event, and I think we'll have some better ideas on what we're doing there in the coming months.
Is it safe to assume, or can you not comment, but is it safe to assume that would be the largest prize pool out of all the decks?
I think that's a safe assumption. For Wonders games at SCGCON, I would imagine that will be the largest one for sure.
I guess that sort of brings me to my next question. Well, first of all, for those of you who don't know, he's mentioned IMC a couple times so far. IMC is short for Imagination Mining Company, and that is the developer behind Wonders of the First. And they also have another game called 𝐏𝐺 Battle Arena, which isn't really up my alley. I'm not much of a sports guy, but I have caught wind of it, and it does seem pretty impressive. And if I'm not mistaken, you're hosting the World Championships for that at the National Card Show.
Correct.
And there's a $100,000 prize pool?
Yeah. So one of the things that Star City Games offers, we have a very experienced organized play team in-house with, collectively 60 years of premier level TCG event play. And that's one of the things we're going to be doing with them, is running their $100,000 prize pool national 𝐏𝐺 Battle Arena event. And we're very much looking forward to that. That's going to be a blast.
That's kind of insane. I mean, that's a game that's got what, like Bo Jackson and Steve Young and Magic Johnson and all sorts of.
It's truly impressive, the roster that they have of athletes involved in that game from the 60s all the way up to today.
what's exciting too is because you have actual athletes involved in that game, you have things like signed cards and stuff like that you can do, which is just, I think, really interesting. It brings a whole nother level to it. But to circle back, you have a $100,000 prize pool for that from the same company that's bringing us Wonders of the First. So is it crazy for me to assume that Wonder's future might go in that direction? That seems like an awful lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I fully anticipate Wonders growing, and I think it'll take a little bit of time, probably, like any other game, but it's already growing at an incredibly fast pace. So, Bo Jackson definitely has a dedicated fan base for that. This is not their first, large-scale tournament for that one. So, yeah, I mean, I think they know what they're doing, and I think they're going to grow their game, and I think the sky's the limit.
It's just exciting seeing how much support they put behind Bo, and knowing that it's the same company. Like, I'm super curious to see where things land in November at Las Vegas and what the prize pool looks like and how crazy it is. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but sure. As a fan from that perspective, I'm really excited to find out where they're going. But even just talking about, what we've already confirmed, up to $10,000 per date, and this relationship is going to be moving forward into 2026. Just, man, I'm really excited for people to catch wind of this game. I think it's amazing what you guys are doing. I'm glad that you caught on to how special the game is this early, at least in my opinion, and that you guys are supporting it. It seems really great. Is there more info coming at any point?
Absolutely. We're going to be working with them to make sure that we have everything locked in for Orlando, probably within the next month or so. Orlando is scheduled for August 29th through the 31st. So we'll definitely have some more information, probably in the month of June, so that we can get everything out there to the public so they can make plans.
All right. So we'll have to check back in with you in June. The very first date is, I believe, in August. Mm-hmm. And which city is that taking place in again?
That's Orlando, Florida. Mm-hmm.
All right, so the Orlando SCGCON will be the first date for Wonders of the First to make an appearance. Up to $10,000 prizing, which is insane for a brand new game. It's just insane that you guys are supporting this so early in general. I know I'm kind of repeating myself at this point, but it's really exciting stuff for me. Just knowing, just being so ingrained in this game and playing it so much and knowing the potential of it, and just now getting the chance to see somebody like Star City Games realize that potential, and pick up that torch and carry it forward is super exciting. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. That's something that we can offer to publishers is, getting exposure. We're going to have, SCGCON has anywhere between 2,500 upwards of 5,000 people at our largest events. So they're not small, and it's a ton of dedicated fans to all card games. So looking forward to Wonders joining that roster.
Absolutely, as am I. Well, thank you for joining me, Jonathan. This is very exciting stuff once again, and I can't wait to dive in, meet you in person, maybe even play a game against you at the SCGCON. We'll see. Thanks so much for joining me.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.